Howdy everybody. I pray you had a wonderful week. So this week I have some camphor. I have quite a few logs out in my yard. I've been there for about a year, maybe a little less. And I decided I was just going to turn something that I didn't exactly have a crazy plan for. I just wanted to put something on the lathe and turn it and kind of do it without having a major plan for how it was going to turn out. I did want to practice my Tim Yoder hollowing system, so I knew I was going to make some sort of hollow form. I just wasn't quite sure the shape or the form. I didn't have any ideas or pre-planned anything in my head. I kind of just wanted to get the log rounded out and just see what happens, see where wood needed to be removed and where it needed to stay. One of those kind of turns. I started to have all kinds of ideas flood into my head for this piece, and in this shape right here I was going to possibly add some metallic wax that I have and kind of make the bottom of it look like it was metal. I've been wanting to do some more pieces like that, just haven't gotten anything like nailed down in my head as far as how I want to do it. So I started looking at it, and it's one of those times where you're like, I don't know. That doesn't really fit proportionately. It wasn't feeling right for me and looking right for me. So I decided to get rid of that little straight edge on there and said, you know what, I'm not going to put any wax on this piece. I'm just going to leave it leave it as is, natural wood. When I'm hollowing out stuff, normally I always try to establish the rim of it, because once you start getting rid of the meat in the middle and taking away the wood's stability, the rim tends to like warp and move, even some cases in real dried wood. And it's been raining quite a bit here in Florida. Our summers are just rainy and wet and humid. So even though I knew this log was probably going to be on the drier side, it was still going to have quite a bit of moisture just from the rain. When I pulled it up from outside, it had just rained, so a lot of the bark and everything was still wet. On my lathe, no matter what I put on it, doesn't matter if it's wet, dry, big, small, and the same area of every piece that I turn has a vibration. And when I'm using this hollowing tool with the tip, like it's normally supposed to be straight out, in that area it just wants to vibrate and bounce off the piece. So a friend of mine, Billy Burt from Messy Studio, he gave me a tip saying to take the rod that's holding the tip and just slightly turn it downwards. Keep it on center, but just slightly point it downwards, and that will help with hollowing some pieces and some woods. He doesn't have his same vibration issue, but he recommended I try that and see if that helped, and it did tremendously. It helped get through that vibration and that bouncing without any issues, and gave me kind of a better cut as well. I sanded this piece all the way from 80 to 400 grit. I wanted to try out a new varnish that I got from Total Boat. It's the Halcyon. It's a clear varnish. It's not like the Lust. The Lust is more of like an amber finish, and it's a little thicker. This is a water base finish. So after cleaning the piece off with denatured alcohol, I put 2 coats of sanding sealer and let that dry really good before I put the varnish on. So it's a new finish. Like I said, I've never used this rugged clear gloss varnish before. There's a couple things I really liked about it right off the bat. One, the container that it comes in. It's really easy just to pour a little bit in a cup and seal the top. Also, it's water-based, so cleaning my brushes was very simple. Soap and water cleanup, that was nice. Putting it on was very easy. The first coat went on just fine, perfect, no problems. It spreads out really nice. I didn't have to keep the lathe running with this finish to keep it on there. Even though it was on the thinner side, it just stayed. I didn't coat it down too much, I don't think. The second coat I applied about 3 hours later. I had some stuff to do, so I just came back to it when I could. And you can put on a second coat after, I think, an hour, after it's no longer, it's like tack free. Now the second coat, I brushed on and I played with it too long. So, or I'm just not using a really good brush, because once it dried, I could see these brush strokes in it, and I probably should have just put it on and walked away and not kept brushing and brushing and brushing. But I felt like I could see the brush strokes, so I was trying to brush those out and just made them worse. So if any of you use this product, let me know what brushes that you use that are better, or maybe even a sponge brush. I think I'll try that next time. And so I'm pointing out here the brush lines in the finish that are hard to see, and probably wouldn't be able to see them unless I really pointed them out, but it was driving me nuts. So I took my DIY abrasive paste and was like, well, maybe I can just smooth them out to make them to where they're not so visible. The abrasive paste did work beautifully, of doing exactly what I was hoping it would do. Now, this was about 13 to 16 hours after the second coat, so I wouldn't recommend using it, right away afterwards. I'm not sure. It didn't roll up or get grippy or anything on me when I was using it. I have had that happen by not waiting for the finish to properly dry, but it was perfect. It was like 16 hours later in our humid, nasty, yucky Florida weather. So the abrasive paste worked perfect. It just smoothed down those ridges from my brush strokes, and then I went over it with the Frenchies polish to get that shine back in it. And it still had a really nice depth from the varnish, even before the OB Shine Juice. So 2 coats was plenty, at least for what I was looking to do with it and my level of patience and skill for this project. I felt 2 coats was just fine. If any of you watching uses this Halcyon as a finish, put in the comment section below how you apply it, whether it's a sponge brush or a certain particular brush that you find works better than others with your experience. And I would love to hear your suggestions and to try them out. So I appreciate that. Thank you so very much for watching my videos. Y'all have a wonderful weekend and take care. God bless.